Step into a city suspended between centuries, a place where the echoes of empire meet the first murmurs of modern life. This is Lisbon in the 1850s, a city of terracotta rooftops, narrow alleys, and the gentle hum of activity along the Tagus River. Using AI reconstruction, we can journey back to witness a capital alive with trade, culture, and daily rhythms, capturing a moment frozen in history, yet vibrant with life. To understand Lisbon in the 1850s, we must first look at its storied past. Once the heart of a global maritime empire, Lisbon had endured the devastation of wars, revolutions, and the catastrophic 1755 earthquake. By mid-century, the city had rebuilt itself into a layered urban fabric, medieval remnants perched beside pombeline grids, which had introduced order and symmetry to the heart of the city. Narrow alleys and steep hills coexisted with wide plazas, reflecting centuries of resilience and adaptation. The city was more than a collection of buildings, it was a living organism. Cobblestones echoed with footsteps, church bells marked the day's rhythm, and the Tagus flowed as the lifeblood of trade and transport. Each street corner held stories of merchants, sailors, artisans, and families whose lives interwove to create Lisbon's unique character. The 1850s city was organized yet lively. The pombeline grid, implemented after the 1755 earthquake, gave Lisbon order, but human activity added unpredictability and color. Merchants opened wooden shutters along Baixas streets, while market smells and street sounds filled the air. Terraced rooftops and wrought iron balconies caught the sun, and laundry hung between buildings, fluttering like flags of daily life. Surveyors carefully mapped the city during this decade, creating the foundation for later urban planning. Lisbon's streets and squares were both functional and social spaces, where children played, neighbors exchanged news, and the pulse of commerce moved steadily through the day. Though Portugal industrialized slowly compared to Northern Europe, the 1850s saw the early stages of modernization. Railways began connecting Lisbon to nearby towns, transporting goods, people, and new ideas. Steam engines hissed and billowed smoke along iron tracks, while workers maintained tracks and stations. Small workshops near the port produced textiles, ironwork, and machinery, hinting at a city gradually embracing industrial progress. The port and harbor were particularly dynamic. Ships from distant continents docked daily, unloading spices, wine, textiles, and raw materials. Lisbon's economy was slowly integrating local and global trade networks, while the everyday lives of citizens adapted to these new rhythms. Lisbon's population was diverse and growing. Rural migrants arrived seeking work, crowding into modest housing with stone courtyards. Children played with handmade toys in narrow alleyways, while women carried water jugs along steep streets. The streets were alive with the sounds of daily life, carts clattering over cobblestones, voices bargaining at markets, and the distant bells of churches marking the hours. Even simple domestic spaces reflected the social realities of the time. Working-class homes were modest but functional, with oil lamps, wooden furniture, and carefully tended courtyards. Meanwhile, wealthier districts featured wider streets, decorative balconies, and small gardens, illustrating the contrast between prosperity and hardship that characterized mid-19th century Lisbon. The port remained the city's heart, connecting Lisbon to the wider world. Sailors and merchants animated the waterfront, while dock workers handled crates of goods from Africa, South America, and Asia. The smell of salt, tar, and spices filled the air, blending with the sound of rigging and the creak of wooden ships. Cais do Sodré was a hub of commercial activity, its warehouses storing barrels, sacks, and crates, while small markets and taverns served sailors and locals alike. Trade was more than economics, it was cultural exchange. Sailors brought stories, fashions, and even culinary influences, enriching Lisbon's social tapestry and reminding its citizens that their city was a gateway to the world.
Cultural life flourished in streets, gardens, and theaters. Fado music, then in its early forms, echoed from taverns and alleyways, telling stories of longing and resilience. Theaters like Teatro do Salitre hosted plays reflecting social tensions, comedy, and romance. Intellectual salons allowed scholars and artists to discuss literature, philosophy, and politics, contributing to a vibrant urban culture that coexisted with the daily bustle of commerce and labor. Even the city's gardens and promenades served as cultural spaces. Paseo Público and similar locations were gathering spots for leisure, conversation, and the display of social status, a reminder that culture permeated both public and private life. Lisbon's engagement with science and education was emerging. The Lisbon Astronomical Observatory was a hub of inquiry where telescopes scanned the stars and scholars recorded celestial phenomena. Libraries, small schools, and public institutions promoted literacy and knowledge. Even amidst social and economic challenges, Lisbon nurtured intellectual curiosity, blending tradition with the early ideas of modernization. Yet challenges were ever present. Working-class neighborhoods were crowded, housing was often precarious, and sanitation was limited. The streets revealed contrasts: narrow, worn alleys versus elegant, wide boulevards, modest workshops versus refined salons. Life in Lisbon was a constant negotiation between survival, labor, and aspiration, shaping a city that was resilient, complex, and socially diverse. The coexistence of wealth and hardship, industry and tradition gave Lisbon a distinctive character, one that would endure and evolve through the 19th century. Lisbon in the 1850s was a city at a crossroads, rooted in history yet cautiously stepping into modernity. Its streets, rooftops, and waterfronts tell stories of commerce, culture, and daily life. The population's energy, the rhythm of the port, and the gradual appearance of railways and workshops reveal a city in transformation. AI reconstruction allows us to experience Lisbon not as a static artifact, but as a living, breathing city. From the terracotta roofs of Alfama to the bustling quays of the Tagus, every scene reflects human ingenuity, resilience, and the enduring beauty of a capital shaped by centuries of history. Lisbon's 1850s story is not only about structures or events, it is about life itself, captured through time and technology. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more historical reconstructions powered by research and AI. Step into the past, one city at a time.